recording? Yeah. May notice the exhaust is a little louder. Did I get a new exhaust from a Ducati? No, just drive my wife's Ducati. Man, her steels so differently than mine. Mine's still waiting on parts. I mean, I could have thrown the busted tail back on, but I just didn't feel like it. What is this asshole doing? So what we're actually doing is going for a quick spin on the 2022 Monster Plus. Which does have the Terminioni 3/4 system. Everything but the headers. And what we're actually doing is testing the new video mode on the camera. I've got the Insta360 Ace Pro, and what I've been doing, I've been recording 4K 30 with HDR. My problem with HDR is I think for fast action, you get better, smoother, better looking video if you can do 60 frames, but then you lose HDR. Or you get a little bit more pop with color and stuff, but then you lose some of that clarity and smoothness by having to drop to 30 frames. I don't know if anybody's doing 4K 60 in HDR currently. So today Insta put out a major firmware update for the Ace Pro, and a bunch of it has to do with its nighttime. It was already the best camera out that you can buy. Blows away GoPro, DJI when it comes to low light video, thanks to this big ass 1-inch Leica lens and sensor and all that crap. So it does a better job. But then they also added some additional color profiles that they developed with Leica. Leica. They're one of those high-end camera lens photography things. There's others out there. I think there's Zeiss, Hasselblad. I don't know. There's a few out there. But Leica is the one that does it for this. And so they've got some color profiles that are supposed to make it look a lot better. So I've got my settings right now. Yeah, before I get into settings, I really wish that my Street Fighter had this thing's mid-range. The low end and mid-range on this, part of it's the gearing, part of it's the nature of the motor. This does not have the top end. Mine's got like an extra 35 horsepower up top. It's a lot more powerful up top. But when you're just putzing around now, like 4,500, it goes. Mine would not go. I'd have to downshift. My Street Fighter's like riding a 600. You have to keep the engine on the boil, keep the RPMs up in a higher range, and it will reward you with lots of power and fun. But down low, not so much. Now hers is also geared down slightly from stock. The problem on mine, which I talked about it this weekend when we were up on Weyer Road, was that because mine's higher revvy and the power's all stacked up top from like 8,000 to 11,000 or 7,500 to 11,500, whatever it is. It's phenomenal up there, but sometimes you get stuck in between gears when you're in the turns, like really slow technical turns. Because you're like, all right, I got it down in first gear, but I'm still doing like 40 miles an hour, but I'm at like 9,500 RPMs, and the throttle's very just like, it's aggressive. You have all that power right there wanting to go. And it can upset the chassis a little bit if you're not real careful. You hit a bump in the road, it's like lurchy and lungy. It just wants to go. It's like you got a pit bull or something straining at the leash. So then you go up to second, but then your RPMs drop so much that you don't have any real torque pulling out of the turn. And I feel the bike is geared too tall. So what do? I come home and without researching, I go ahead and order a down 1-tooth front sprocket, 14 tooth, which is what I put on pretty much every Ducati I've ever owned. And it fixes the low speed manners, it helps in the lower speed turns. If you're going around a roundabout or in a parking lot where you have to kind of navigate real slow, you're not lugging the motor where it's like, you know, you want to smooth it out without having to sit there slipping the clutch a lot. The 1-tooth down in the front's perfect. And I ran the numbers on Gearing Commander. If I drop down, you know, the top speed on my Street Fighter V2, theoretically, again, assuming it can hit red line in 6th, which I don't know that it would, is 167 miles an hour. Never going to do that on a naked bike like that, even if it could. There's no place to do that. It's not fun. Anything over like 140, 145 on a naked bike sucks. It's just not enjoyable. The wind just beats the shit out of you when you're a big dude and have no place to hide from the wind. It's like standing in a Cat 4 or Cat 5 hurricane. So I'm like, what would -1 go down a tooth on the front, which is like going up 2.5 to 3 on the back. It's $40 shipped. It's cheap. It's a quick performance boost. You don't make any more power. It just changes the mechanical advantage and the leverage of what you do have. And so you sacrifice 12 miles an hour up top, bringing it down to like 153, 154, which you could hit. But you get better acceleration. So when you're adjusting sprockets, you can gear down for better acceleration at the expense of top end speed, or you can gear for higher top speed at the extent of slower acceleration. You can't have both. The only way to do both would be changing internal gear ratios on individual gears, and you could gear the lower ones for more acceleration, and then but then you'd have this big gap. It just wouldn't work right. Well, apparently, even though I've done this on like, I don't know, 30 other bikes, there's been a change with the newer Ducatis, with the traction and the electronics are so advanced that apparently for EU regulations, because they're so strict on emissions, well, your emissions are based on the air-fuel ratio and all that stuff, what's coming out the tailpipe based on the tune, but then also they do the testing not at a certain RPM but at a certain speed. So what a lot of companies, and they do sound tests at a certain speed. They say, well, be in second gear and go this speed. Well, if you put tall gearing in there, your RPMs are lower, which means the engine's not running as fast. So you put out fewer emissions, theoretically, and you put out less noise. Because instead of being 4,000 RPMs, you might only be 3,600. It might make a difference. When they're doing everything they can to just barely meet emissions, noise and hydrocarbons and stuff, it's a balancing act. So a lot of bikes come geared tall. They also do it to make it less wheelie prone so you don't flip it and kill yourself. But you've got advanced lean angle sensing IMU, you've got your traction and wheelie control and slide control and the auto blipper and quick shifter, all these electronic systems, and they're all talking based on how fast the bike's going, which is based off of wheel speed sensors front and back, and how fast the engine's turning. Apparently, if you change the gearing on the Street Fighter V2, there's a very good chance that the quick shifter will not work properly, and you'll start throwing engine codes. It'll run okay, but your quick shifter will be glitchy and intermittent. It may work on upshifts, but periodically it won't work on downshifts. And apparently there's not much of a way around it unless you want to get... Apparently this is part of an EU thing, so I'm going to try the sprocket. I'm going to try it and see if it glitches, and maybe on a US bike it's okay, because not being able to change gear ratios is kind of a dick move. When you do track days, or if you're racing, a lot of guys will gear their bike for each track based on whether it's a big faster track and they need the top end speed, or is it more of a slower technical where you never get to the top speed, so you'd rather convert that power into acceleration and blasting out of tight technical turns. I know a lot of racer guys that have different gear setups, different sprockets they use based on the track they're going to. And it would be for a company that, you know, is all about racing to say, yeah, you can only use the gearing that comes from the factory. Man, the cops are on full force today. I guess their donut fund is low and they need to increase some revenue. And don't tell me it's not about revenue. It's always about revenue. Picking people off on a road like this for going a few miles over the speed limit on a divided highway like that where the speed limit is 35 or 45. It's all about revenue. It's not about public safety. And I'm very pro-cop, but hey, just call it what it is. Anyway, apparently with the Street Fighter, when I put that sprocket on, I may get the extra acceleration and drive that I want. But it may fuck up the electronics, which would be very unfortunate. I would really hate if they did that. That's kind of a dicky thing to do. So we'll find out. Let's see what else is going on. Nothing really. I just want to get some video. I'll hit a couple little twisty bits. I'm going to edit out after this part of me talking. I'm just going to focus on riding. I'm going to edit some stuff out and I'll just throw in the twisty bits. And this is really just to see how the new Leica profile works at 4K 60. I've got it on highest bit rate, sharpness medium, EV comp is negative 0.5. I'm using Leica Vivid. Let's see, what else? Talked about sharpness. I think I'm using the Action View, which is the equivalent of Super View. It gives a little bit of a fisheye thing, but it gives you a really nice immersive field of view. And I'm going to go home and pull it in and see how this looks and post it up. And give me your opinions. Take the video I did on Saturday. I posted it up Sunday afternoon for Waya Road. And look at the video quality there, which is HDR 4K 30 with a normal color profile. And then take a look at this and see which one you prefer. I think HDR is good when you've got intermittent light and you're trying to see in shadows. There are, or when you're looking at the clouds and the sun, there are areas where HDR looks better. I just don't know if it's worth sacrificing the video quality and the smoothness of like fast-paced action video. So we'll see. If this turns out better, then this will be what I use from now on. It will be bigger files. Going to 60 frames is going to double the file size and all that stuff. But I've got the processing power and the storage for it. So anyway, enjoy and check out the video clips. This jerk off almost freaking runs in the back, right? Yeah, this definitely misses the upper power. It has great power and then it just kind of peters off. Still quick. Power-wise, this is roughly on par with MT-09. Stock form, they both make about 105 at the wheel-ish, somewhere around there. Just over 100. This has the race ECU, the race map in it, from Terminioni for the 3/4 system. I don't know what it makes. Maybe it's 108, 109, I don't know. I think if you flash, like a good flash that unrestricts the MT-09, it might make a little more power. the suspension is so soft. If I had one of these, it would have to be the SP model. Come on, assholes. Always someone from Florida doesn't know what to do when the road curves. Clibbins! Got for the Clibbins. Last time I passed someone here, I blew past an Audi at about $1.25 or $1.30. And in front of the Audi, I wasn't paying attention. I just saw this guy playing with his phone. I go flying by him, and right in front of him, it's Hall County Sheriff. So I about pooped myself. I just slammed on the brakes. I was like, shit, I'm so going to jail. And then he pulls over in this first subdivision up here. And then pulls in and turns around immediately. I'm like, oh, he's going to chase me. I pulled up alongside him. He rolls the window down. He's like, what you need? I'm like, oh, I just figured I'd throw myself on your mercy for that stupid stunt back there. He's like, oh, I was looking at my laptop. I didn't see. What did you do? And then I'm like, and he's like, never mind. You turned yourself in. That tells me that you knew you did wrong. Don't do it again. Have a nice day. I was like, thank you, sir. Please don't turn left. Please don't turn left. Oh, that cunt's gonna turn left. Alright, we're just gonna have to do some passes. Screw this shit. God damn it. Why is everybody going down to all these slow fucks going down the same road? And all they're gonna do is ride the brakes, ride the brakes. I can get a clear shot from passing these clowns. Someone turn right. Come on. Ah, damn it. It's so hard to get a clean run down any road. Just not going to get a decent run. Dude, get that piece of shit out of the way. Get that shit box out of the way.